Hey guys, before we start today's video, I want to apologize for not having any new content out lately. I'm still trying to figure out this whole YouTube thing, and I thank you guys for your patience and support on the channel. I promise to do my best to get some new content out for you guys. Thanks and enjoy the video. Hey YouTube, I want to welcome you guys back to the channel, and if you're new to the channel, my name is Paul, and I'm a firefighter for the United States Air Force. On this channel, I make videos about Air Force life, my life as a firefighter, I showcase my fitness journey, and I occasionally do vlogs about my life. And so the topic of today's video is why I joined the Air Force. And before I get into that, I kind of want to give you guys a little background about me. I was born in Daly City, California, and actually most people don't know where that's at, so I usually just say San Francisco. And it's basically like 10 to 15 minutes away, so it's really not that far. This is just a small little community. I'm actually half Salvadorian and half Filipino. And so being in Daly City, California, I was actually raised around like a predominantly Asian Filipino culture. And one fun fact is that it's always foggy there. So if you know me, I love the fog. And so like one of the standing jokes that's kind of passed around is that Daly City has like all the Asians have their rice cookers going, and that's why it's foggy all the time. So I actually went to private Catholic school for about 8 years before I transitioned into the public system. And so throughout my time in the private school system, I was, your average student, about A or B, maybe the occasional C. Always doing my best, trying to get high honors. And then it was until about 8th grade where I transitioned to a public school, and my work ethic transitioned like perfectly. I completed assignments the day of or as soon as possible, and teachers loved me. And so I basically excelled that year, maintaining basically an almost perfect 4.0. And for some reason, once I got into high school, it's like at 180, completely different person. And so luckily I got accepted into a really cool program where you're a high school student on a college campus. You're still taking your regular high school courses, and then you're taking some general ed college courses until you're eligible to take courses towards your major. And so the cool part about that is, like, let's say, I don't know, you be an electrical engineer. And so you're around your junior time, you're starting to take courses like maybe those maths, those calculus, all these courses catered to your major. And so basically by the time you graduate, or like if you take what's called the optional 5th year, you enter a university as a junior. And so I mean you're basically that much more ahead. So it was a really good program. Unfortunately, I didn't take advantage of it in that sense. I've never had that freedom, growing up in private school and like always kind of chaperoned in a sense. And so having that freedom was different. We were basically treated like college students, and so I was really cool with the juniors and the seniors at the time. I skipped a lot of school. All I really cared for was like trying to be cool, popular, and like I skateboarded a lot during that time. And so I ended up going to a regular high school, my local regular high school, where everyone knew each other. Everyone from 8th grade and middle school, like everyone was there. And so, I mean, that was my chance. I got to play sports, which I actually ended up playing football, track and field, soccer, and volleyball, which is now one of my greatest passions, and I love this sport. But I didn't do so hot in high school either. I mostly cared about like being cool. I skipped classes again, missed assignments. I actually almost barely graduated. Not because I lacked the knowledge, but I lacked the effort that was needed. And so with that in mind, I really didn't feel like I had a chance at any university. And so like my real option was to go to community college. And so that's what I did. And so I went to my local community college, and everyone from high school knew everyone there. And actually that program from that freshman year, that being a high school student on a college campus, that was the college campus. That special high school was at the community college. And so it was basically like I was back again, and this really confusing situation kind of. I saw a lot of people that I've met before. I was initially motivated. I wanted to go study electrical engineering with a double major in music. And I have a big passion for music. As much as I'm athletic, I also play instruments. I grew up playing the flute. I learned guitar and drums my freshman year, and just kind of just carried through. Kind of let go of the drums, but more so into guitar. High school time, I had a girlfriend. We were dating for maybe about a year, and then we dated like almost 3 years into just before I left. And so we promised each other that we weren't going to go join the services because we were actually getting heavily recruited by like Marines, Army, Navy, and they were just really trying to get us. And we're like, no, we're not. If you don't join, I don't join. And so we kind of made that promise. So fast forward, going into my first semester in community college, and you know, I started to slip away again. I was motivated initially, and then I just stopped doing assignments, started skipping school, and I fell into a pattern again. I'm like, wow, I'm not disciplined. Like, I've been in school like for, you know, these past 12 years. I'm tired of it. I want something new. Like maybe I need to work. Maybe I need to do something with my life. And around that time, on Netflix, there was a show called Into the Universe with Stephen Hawking, and so that got me really, really interested in space. Like, I've always liked space and stars and the galaxies, but like this show like just really pushed me like, oh, I think I want to do this with my life. And so like originally I was going to school to be an electrical engineer with a minor in communications and a double major in music. And so my goal was to build like the next best iPhone, or the next best, like the iPhone killer. I really liked cell phones, and I was huge into tech. And like I was just a tech student, like super nerdy kid in school. And so like I said, I was watching that show, and it's funny, maybe it's a coincidence that at that same time an Air Force recruiter called me. And so if we backtrack, I took the ASVAB, which is the aptitude test to get into the armed forces, and you get a score at the end that tells you what you're qualified for as far as like jobs and what branches. And so the Air Force has the highest qualification, and it was the only branch that didn't try to recruit heavily. So I never met with an Air Force recruiter until that call I'm telling you guys about. So I got a call by the Air Force, or by an Air Force recruiter, and for some reason I was like, wow, the Air Force wants me. So I really like made it personal, and I was like, wow, like they need me specifically to join the Air Force. Obviously, you know, knowing now that wasn't the case. It's just I happened to qualify to join, and so that I met with the recruiter as soon as I could, and I basically joined that day. And I mean, sad story, but I came back to my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, hey, I'm leaving in 6 months. And I basically broke her heart, and she's like, wait, what's going on? I was like, well, I signed up to join the Air Force. And so I joined so I could hopefully branch and work for NASA. I wanted a space job. So, you know, you base off your scores, you're qualified for a list of jobs, and so I filled out as many jobs as I could. I actually chose all my jobs based off college credits. So whatever had the most college credits I was qualified for, I filled all of them out. So I picked a lot of medical jobs, and like, so my first 3 were things I was like super passionate about. So like I said, that space job was space systems operations, and they basically monitor satellites, as far as I understand their job. And then second was UAS operator, so basically a drone like camera operator or sensor operator. And my third was client systems, and it's basically like a network administrator, geek squad for the Air Force, and they go out and fix computers and systems and like networks and stuff. And so like I said, I filled out all my jobs, and then my recruiter was like, hey, why don't you put fire on there? And you know, before any of this, I always had a fear, not that I was ever scared of fire, but for some reason I thought I would die in a fire. It's like I had this weird fear. Couldn't explain it. And so like I never crossed my mind to be a firefighter. And he's like, it's a cool job, like you should put it down. And I was qualified for it, and it's actually a low qualifying job. You don't need a high score to be a firefighter. So yeah, I put it down, and then so that was in 2012 when I enlisted, swore in, November 2012. I said I want to leave in April 2013. Guess what? I didn't leave till 2014, April of that year. And so what happened? I waited what's called in the delayed enlistment program, the DEP program. and I was just waiting this whole time for my job to drop. I wanted Space Systems. It was like, I'm not leaving until I get this job. And so I was told not to resume school, so I didn't pursue another semester. And then fall semester was coming around again because the following year. And a friend hooked me up with a job, and I still wasn't leaving. So I actually ended up working for Target Mobile, which is basically like, you know, like AT&T, Verizon. I actually sold for AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint inside of a Target. So I didn't necessarily work for Target, I worked for a third-party company inside of Target. So I did that for like maybe like close to 6 months until I left in 2014. And so I got a call from my recruiter, I think in January, and he was like, hey, I got good news, I got a job for you. I'm like, oh cool, fine, what job is it? He's like, fire protection. So you know, I told you, I ended up kind of breaking my girlfriend's heart by telling her I'm leaving. Like, we were working things out, but like it was already shaky. And so, like, having struggles with that relationship, some like kind of family issues at home, I was like, screw it, I'm ready to go, just give me this job. And so before I knew it, time flew by and I was shipping out. So that concludes this video. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more content. Please, in the comments below, leave what kind of videos you guys want to see, anything you think I should talk about. Thank you, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.